Welcome back to I Pick Passion and Funny. Today's guest is an actress, comedian, and creator who's passionate about storytelling, community, and living in her truth. Through her work on stage, behind the mic, and with Laugh Your Truth Productions, she's creating spaces where people feel seen, heard, and celebrated. Welcome to the show, Megan Sousa. Hey, welcome to the show, Megan Sousa.
Thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. Okay. So
Awesome.
I usually like to start the show with an icebreaker. Passion or funny? Which one would you choose?
Wow, that's very loaded. Let's see. Well, on one hand, you have to have passion to get through really life, I think just in general. Funny,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like is an essential to also getting through life. So if I had to choose,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would choose funny because at
Okay.
least I'm laughing.
Funny.
At least I'm laughing. At least we're having a good time no matter what's going on. And that
Absolutely.
should
Okay.
fuel some
So
passion.
absolutely. So pick a number 1 through 5.
Just pick a number.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 2.
Okay. What's something small that instantly makes your day better?
Okay. Something small that instantly makes my day better would
Yep.
definitely have to be my cats. Like if one of them like lays on me or if they like want to cuddle, it just feels like a victory because if you know anything about cats, they are affectionate, but they like their space. So when they come
Mm-hmm.
to you to be affectionate, it just feels like oh my gosh, like we're having a moment. Like it just feels like that much better because you want to cuddle them and squeeze them all day and they don't want that. So you have to let them want to come and cuddle and squeeze you. So when they want to come and cuddle and squeeze me, that really makes my day.
Aw, I love that. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I've never had cats. I was only raised with dogs. I had friends that had cats. So I have kind of seen like they're very self-sufficient. Cats don't need, they don't need you a lot. In a lot of ways, they're like, I'm just here.
No, it's
But
that's
when
a
they
misconception because I used to think that too,
really.
but cats actually they're very affectionate because again, I was kind of just like you where I only like grew up with dogs. We had like one cat that would go in and out,
Mhm.
but something happened to like it was just like kind of like a neighborhood cat. But I never really had cats. I've always had dogs. The thing with cats is they are very affectionate and they are
Mm.
actually they actually low key do want like pack mentality, be with the group. When we come home, every day we
Mm.
come home, they're by the door. They're by the front door.
Oh.
When my boyfriend leaves, they'll like lay on his slippers and by the door and just like sit by the door and wait. So they do actually show signs that they don't like being alone. Any room we go, that's why I have to
Mm.
have my door closed because they'll start coming in here. Any room you go to, they're just
Aw.
gonna go be there. They could be anywhere in the house, but they will migrate wherever you are, but at a distance. So, but they're
Okay.
there.
All
They're
right. All
there.
right.
They are there.
That sounds like my love language because I'm always like, I love quality time, but we can be in the same room and I don't have to be close to you. I don't have to make conversation. We could both just be on our laptops doing what we're doing. That sounds like my love language. The cats, like cats.
That is what a cat does. And honestly, that's why I learned to respect the
That's
animal in a different
interesting.
way because I used to kind of be
Uh-huh.
skittish around cats, but now it's like I get it. It's like you
Yeah.
appreciate your own self space and time and
Mhm.
respect in your own alone time.
Mhm.
But then you also do wanna be around people and cuddle and be social and have fun and play. But
Yeah.
then there's a time reserved where they don't necessarily wanna be all up on you, and that's okay. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I get it. Like, I can respect that. So, give cats a
Yeah. I
chance.
like
Cats have
it.
been if you look on
Hmm.
TikTok, there's like a whole thread of Black people and their pets, but there's a lot of Black people and their cats. There's a uptick in Black people with their cats right now, I'm telling you. And
Wow.
I think it's because people are realizing that cats have a bad rap. They do, but they're actually really great pets.
Yeah.
Way easier
Yeah.
to take
They
care
do
of than
have
a
a bad
dog, I'll
rap.
tell you that. When it's
I agree
raining,
with
I don't have
that.
to go outside and walk I don't have to go walk a cat in the rain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The cat will clean itself. I don't have to give the cat a bath. I give them wipe downs, but they clean themselves. So it's like the
Yeah.
lowest maintenance animal, really.
I agree. I do agree with that. I have always heard that. And I'm like, "Man, I thought about giving them a chance. I might one day. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see."
Give the cats a chance. Give the cats a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I love animals. I always love animals anyway. I mean, I have a heart for animals. So, but I've just never had a cat. So, I never had the personal experience, but it sounds like we could get along just great. Me and the the cat.
You would I think you honestly, I think you would love a cat. Just start with a kitten,
Yeah.
get as a baby so you can train them
Yeah.
up. You
Mhm.
would live for a cat. I think you would love a cat.
Okay, alright, Imma do it, and then Imma let you know when I do.
Please, please. Yes, please let me know.
Alright, so, okay, where does your confidence and your sense of self come from? Because you seem very, secure in who you are, you exude confidence, like, where does that come from? Where do you think it comes from?
Well, I know it comes from the Lord above because
Amen.
it's a chain reaction, right? Like the confidence comes from the Lord
Mhm,
above, but how? It came from my
mhm,
family, who just always protected me. They never played about me. They always spoke life into me. Communities like church groups or whatever the case, when I was young, they used to like literally my grandmother would have like prayer groups at the house and they would like prophesy over me and like pray circle around me. And I'd be in the middle just looking up like, oh, hey, y'all. And they just be like, Father God, we just protect this little baby right now. So like, I really do think that like, through that, also have to give a big point to my father and my father's side of the family, who they did as well, but it's like it looks different, right? Because on my father's side of the family, my dad would almost give me these like life lessons of like why you can't
mhm,
do this and why you can do that and why you should do this and why you shouldn't do that. And that gave me
mhm,
confidence because I was like, oh, well, my dad told me that I can't do this or I shouldn't do that. And that just feels wrong. That feels bad. This feels good. So
mhm,
I always like from a very young age knew right from wrong, and I always
wow,
knew that, I was great because my family told me I was great, which is God ordained because God gave me that family. And,
mhm,
I do a lot of self work that looks like
mhm,
many things, journaling and prayer, meditation, exercise, just massages, acupuncture. I get a lot of how can I say it? Like spiritual downloads during those times. And what ends up
mhm,
happening is I'll just get these messages like, oh, okay. And then it boosts my confidence because I'm like, oh, I'm getting confirmations. I'm getting
mhm,
affirmations. I'm getting like all the signs and the receipts of me doing
mhm,
something right and being confident in who I am is just in my DNA because of how I was raised. So it just comes through everything else creatively, personally, because I had no reason to be insecure outside
mhm,
of, your traditional like bullying in school. It's like that was the only time I really was feeling insecure because outside
mhm,
voices were telling me something different than what I had been taught my entire life. So then that insecurity
mm,
kind of came in, planted some seeds. Then those seeds of doubt I had to unwork and like dig out, because I'm like, wait a minute, wait. I'm letting you guys tell me what you don't even know me. Like you don't even know anything about me. So I can't
mhm.
allow an outside voice who is not God's voice to say anything to me. So that I made that distinction very hard, young and early and about that life. So that's where I stand with that is really just, I guess what some people say like Godfidence, but it really is because I know that he's never going to fail me. And there's just a line that draws. And if you don't align with what God has for me, then it really doesn't phase me at all. It just doesn't.
Ooh,
And for me, it's like the
love it.
easiest things. I'm like, okay, if God be for me, who could be against me? And if you're against me, you a fool because I know who I am. So if you're not on this side with me where I'm standing and from what I see, then it doesn't match. And that to me is a very easy like choice to be like, okay, we're done.
Love it. Yes.
That was a
Yes,
long
yes,
answer,
and
but
yes. No, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. I heard a lot of me in there, like, a lot of, like, how I feel, my feelings as well, like, and how I grew up. And, I was very, I never had experience being bullied, but I was very much, I was always like, I had that heart, right, for people. I was always like, everybody was my friend. And, as soon as I meet you, I'm like, oh, we could be friends. Like, I saw my dad, my
Right.
family used to tell me, Erica, you see rainbows and sunshine in everything and everybody. Like, life has not, and they had to kind of like prepare me for life. But, nothing really can prepare you for life but life itself. But my family, they used to try to tell me, I used to come home many days crying because, this girl or that girl, she did, talking about me, and I just want to be her friend and this, that. And my dad's like, Erica, you have friends and you have associates. You have to learn the distinction between the two. Everybody's not your friend. And it took me that reality check. I mean, this was elementary school. I got this lesson. And from that
Mhm.
day, I have carried that with me my entire life. And I have to say, like, my family, like when you were talking about like the family that God gave you, like, I'm thankful for my dad and for those lessons. And
Mhm.
and it's brought me to this
Absolutely.
point. And so it's all God. And like you said, if you're not aligned with me, if you don't want to be over here on this side and you don't want to be my friend, well, guess what? It's too bad for you. If you don't want to be my friend, you're missing
Your
out
loss.
on your loss, right? Because
Absolutely.
I know who I am. I know who I am.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I was like, man, this is yes, yes, and yes. So all
Absolutely.
right, so take me back.
Absolutely.
You mentioned a little bit, yes, girl, yes. You mentioned a little bit about your childhood, obviously, as we just talked about, but take me back. Who was young Megan? Like, who were you at a young age, and where did you think she was going when you were young?
Okay, so this is an easy answer. Who was I? Who was young Megan? The same Megan that you're talking to right
Mhm.
now.
Oh, wow.
The
Okay.
same.
Okay. Okay.
Honestly, I have not changed much, but the things that did change, I will say, as you were to the second part of the answer of, I'm sorry, repeat the second question for me again,
No,
about
I
younger
said,
Megan and
who
this
where did
Megan.
you think she was going? Yeah, where did you think she was
Okay, yes.
going at when you
So
were young? Mhm.
great. Okay, so technically, I am still the same person. Obviously, with growth and
Okay.
maturity, great, we'll take that out. But at the core, I'm the same person. The reason I know this is talking to people who I've gone to elementary school, middle school, high school, college with. They're like, you are literally the same. And it's like, not even just that, but I look the same. If I like showed you like how I looked in middle school, I look exactly
Mm, mm,
the same. Where I am now, honestly, is not too much of a surprise because very, 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 very young, I always knew that I wanted
mhm,
to be great. Like I'll just say I just knew I wanted to do great things in life. Like I knew
mhm,
that whatever it looked like, I was gonna be great. Very early age, I've always loved obviously entertainment. I was always singing. My mom got me a mic and it was like a Fisher Price, like, microphone, like, karaoke set, like, the little mic with a
mhm.
stand,
Uh-huh.
and that was the moment, and I literally remember it was a Christmas we got that, and I had to be all of, like, 3 or 4 because there's some home video, and I'm, like, in, like, little the little diaper things, so I was very, very young, oh my gosh, and it was a Christmas video, and I'm, like, singing, "That's the way, uh-huh, uh-huh, I like it, uh-huh, uh-huh," and I'm, like, singing this song. Nobody asked me to do this, and they were cracking up,
Oh.
and I realized from the beginning, I literally have had a microphone in my hand, but I was, like, going around like, "Oh, maybe I'll be a nurse." I love helping people. I love science. Like maybe I'll be a nurse. And then, at one point I was like, maybe I'll
Mm.
be a veterinarian because I love animals. So I was always
Mhm,
there, wanting to put my hand in so many things. So I knew I would be
mhm,
great. It's just what exactly was I going to do? By the time
mhm,
I hit middle school, I was already doing like commercials and stuff and like print work. By high school, I was really leaning on Like, I wanna be an actor, like, I wanna be known like a well-known famous actor, I wanna be like Meryl Streep and Martin Lawrence and all that. That was my biggest dream. Once it was time to
Yeah.
graduate, however, and it was time for college, I was thinking like, "Okay, another workaround." Like, "Okay, if I go to school, I can be a nurse, and then I can be an actor at night or a comedian at night." I was trying to figure it out. By the time I entered in that degree, that was actually when I was the most depressed because I
Mm.
was trying to follow something that did not speak to my spirit, even though I was capable and could totally be a nurse. That's what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to help people. But it just got to a point where I'm like, not feeling it, And I'm mid Air Force ROTC. I'm thinking I'm going to the military. I had this idea of what I should do versus the idea of who I am and need to become. It was like, let me just
Mm.
do these things to get through some steps to eventually become who I need to become. It was like a buffer, like a
Mm.
safety buffer. But it got to a
Mm.
point where it just could not continue. I changed my major to psychology because Tuskegee University at that time did not have a performing arts program. So I was like, okay, I just need to figure this out. And like, psychology degree, I can maybe apply that to like characters and, my acting. So that's how I was looking at it. And, in addition to understanding myself and other people, preparing for roles and also for my own mental health, just like keeping myself in check. Once I came to LA, it was like, I'm going. But again, I have to give that credit to my mom because my mom is the one who was like, see, you can do this. See, you can do that. See, you can do this. And she would bring me to castings and stuff. And there was a small period like around 13, 14, where I wasn't interested.
Mm.
Like, I wasn't interested in anything entertainment-wise anymore because, you start thinking about
Mm.
boys and stuff, so I was just like, "Oh, like, I wanna be a girly girl," and, like, all this stuff, like, I was not interested, but my mom was persistent
Mm.
because she knew, I mean, she raised me, she's seen, like, everything else I've been doing up until that point. So, once I got to LA, I just continue to build off what I learned from my mom and what she instilled in me with marketing and networking with people and just putting yourself out there and not being afraid, again, that confidence. Even though I was confident, I was a shy kid. So she
Mhm.
pushed me and pushed my boundaries because there would be points where there was a performance, I had a dance performance. I'll never forget this. And I was, oh my gosh, I knew the dance, everything, because I also dance, but I was so scared. I couldn't get over the stage fear, fright. So when all the girls were going out, I was, like, in line with them, and I stayed back. I was like, "I can't do it." And they were like, "What are you doing? Go, go, go." It was like a whole, like, conference thing with, like, all these different dancers. I stayed back in the hallway, and they were like, "Go." And I was like, "I can't." I was like, "I can't do it. I cannot do it." And my mom didn't know because she's in the audience thinking I'm coming out, so she's ready to record, take pictures. I was frozen in fear. There was nothing they could
No.
do to get me out there, and I was just like and I'm watching it, and I'm like, couldn't do it. My mom was so mad. She was like, "Girl, what? Like, we drove all the way here. We did all this
No.
prep. We did all this. Why?" And I was like, "I couldn't go." And then I felt horrible. I let my team down. I didn't go out. I was like, I gypped myself from that experience. I didn't get to partake. I knew it. I practiced. And it's like, how am I going to celebrate with my team? I went through a really weird phase where I was like rejecting it
Mhm.
and like, "No, I can't. This is too much." I was just so afraid. It was fear. It was really just fear,
Mhm.
less the confidence, but fear. But to see where I am now, I say I'm not surprised in a way that I envision myself being great. I just didn't know how I was gonna get there or what it was gonna look like.
Mm.
And that's the part that you have to submit to God's work because I can say, like, I know I'm gonna do these things because I have plans. I thought I was gonna be a
Mhm.
nurse and I thought I was gonna do this. I thought I was gonna be married and have children by, a particular age. I thought I was gonna have a different body type at a particular age. None of that happened. None of that happened. And so, I would just really feel like I was in a holding cell with God, like, okay, well, what are we doing? Because this is what I said I wanted, and this is what I said that I plan on doing, but now you got me doing this. this is not what was in my plan. And so once I
Okay.
kind of released yeah, once I released it and
Whoosh.
allowed him to have the control, I realized I never would have been able to picture myself where I am now because I was never able to and you can't see in the future. I'm not omnipotent. So there was no way I could ever imagine how I would
Mm,
get here or where I would be. I really
mm,
had to just let it go. And I think my younger self would look at my current self now like, "Oh, wow. Okay, you did it. Great. What's next?" Because I just like knew. It's like I just knew in my being, like in my every fiber of my body. But it was just like
mm,
I could see it, but I just didn't know how. That was the thing. Like I knew it
mm.
was gonna happen, but I had no
Mhm.
idea how. And that was, I think the
Whew.
biggest thing that my younger self would look at is like, I can't believe how we got here versus I can't believe we got there. It's like, I can't believe what we had to go through and how we got here. I think would be the biggest gag for young Megan.
Talk a talk
Yeah.
about it. Talk about it. But, man, you hit some nerves, girl. I mean, because that's real. We have no idea what's coming for us. And it's trusting God's timing because we be on our
Mhm.
own, like we be having our own plans. And I believe God
Yeah.
really be laughing. I know he do. He be like, oh, you thought it was gonna be like that. Oh, you thought you were gonna be married and have kids. Oh, you thought that all this. No, 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 no. I just think that I mean, what? I'm in awe because we really be having our own plans. And it is so real that it don't work out like that. You have to surrender to his plan, to his time, and no matter what, and just put in the work. Be faithful and stick in there. Put in the work, do your part because faith without works is dead. Period. So if you are not doing anything, forget about it anyway. But you gotta be faithful. You gotta stick in there. And
Yes.
oh my God, girl. Okay, anyway, so let me. But what's one thing you said? You talked about wanting to be a nurse, and in a way, you still are because you're still healing through comedy. Like
Mhm.
what you do, you're
I
still
like
in
that.
a way, you are still a nurse. You are healing. You heal. Like to do what you do and the bravery to get up there, that is still that's healing. That's helping somebody. It's helping people.
I
And just
appreciate that.
and talking about God as you do. Yeah. I
I
mean, you're
appreciate
still
that. Yeah. I mean, and
yeah. You're
even
welcome.
that in and of itself was um it was I guess more like a revelation. When I first started
Mhm.
doing comedy, I didn't realize how big of a responsibility it is
Mm,
to have people's attention under your voice, which can do a lot of good or a lot of harm.
mhm.
And it
Mhm.
took me many years, I would say at least the first 5, 6 years of me doing stand-up comedy, I had no clue. I was just saying whatever I thought would be funny. And it wasn't
Mhm.
until now this is a crazy story. This is where everything changed. I did some shows in San Diego. I was booked for a weekend in San Diego. I won't name the club
Mhm.
because that's irrelevant. So I was booked for like 4 shows over 2 nights. I think it was like a Friday, Saturday, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows on Saturday, and I think 1 show on Sunday. I think it was like 4 or 5 shows, something like that. Okay, so I get down there, I'm so excited, I'm, like, ready to do a specific set list, and your set list is
Mhm.
basically the jokes that you plan on telling on your during your set. I work on
Mhm.
my set list, and the first show I did was it the first show? Hold on. Okay, sorry, let me take it back. The first show I did my regular set.
Mhm.
I go home to my room in in the middle of the night. It was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and God was like, "You're gonna talk about me tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool, but what? Like, what am I saying? All the stuff you already say." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Yeah." He was like, "I need you to talk about this tomorrow, or like I need you to discuss me on stage." And I was like, "Okay." I'm over here like, man, this is about to be because God told me to talk about him on stage, so I know this about to be some tea. I get
Ah.
there, the 7 o'clock show. 7 o'clock show is sold out, so it's over 100 some people in the room. I'm ready to go. The host brings me up, give it up for Megan. I come up there, and right off the rip, I'm like, "I don't know why y'all be playing." I was like, "Y'all really be out here playing with God, huh?" And I'm just going in, and I'm just like joking. I'm like, the joke was really centered around how I just didn't
Yeah.
understand how people didn't believe in God when people
Mm.
don't even brush their teeth. People out here don't even can't even do full math equations, and they can't even tell you every capital of every state or any country or
Mm.
continent. They can't even
Mm.
list these things, but yet you think you know better than God, who actually took the time to put you together so that you didn't completely fall apart and just be the atoms that you are? Do y'all think y'all smart
Ooh.
enough? Like, I'm going crazy. The room was silent. Over here, Kiki, and I'm cracking up because I'm like, this shit is funny. No one's
Yes.
laughing. And it was too real. And I clocked him. I was like, oh, it's too real, huh? I was like, it's too real. All right, cool. I was like, so y'all just letting me know everybody in here going to hell. So I'm just going in at this point. No holds bar. I'm just going crazy. I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? But I'm like joking, I'm like joking, like, but the great thing is that you can always make your way back to Jesus. Like, I'm going in,
Amen.
okay? I get off stage. The host is mad. He doesn't shake my hand. He starts calling
Uh-uh.
me a bitch. He's saying that he hopes I burn in hell on stage in front of people. He's saying all this crazy stuff. The audience is not saying anything. And I hit him with the Sealy. Everything that you say to me shall be done to you from the back. I was just hitting him with the Sealy. He kept going in, F you, you be, blah, blah. Nobody effing wants to hear about God, F God, all this crazy stuff. Then he comes off stage and tries to fist bump me. I was like, don't you touch me,
Ooh.
demon. Don't you touch me, devil.
Mm-mm.
I go in
Mm-mm.
the back. I'm in the green room. I'm pissed because of him basically he's calling me out of my name. If you in my mind,
Yes.
in the moment, I'm like, if you don't agree with my set, that's cool, but don't attack the comics. Cause then the comic that went up after that was like, yo, what is happening? It's like Black History Month. It was a February. He's like, what is going on? Oh, and so the next comic addressed that. And the headliner was in the green room with me, like, look, Mag, I get what you're trying to do. Maybe it should be a one-woman show, but you can't be doing that in a comedy club. And I'm crying because I'm like, but God told me to do it. Like, I don't care. He told me to do it, and I'm gonna follow his orders. I don't care about no comedy club. I don't care about no. I'm going crazy in the back. And so he's like, I'm
Mm-mm.
gonna have him apologize to you. I want him to come apologize to you. I'm gonna make him. I said, I don't want his apology. I said, because his reaction was exactly why God asked me to do that because there was a demon in the house. After the show
Mm.
let out, once the show completely finished, everybody's leaving. This guy comes up to me, white guy, long beard,
Mhm.
tattoos, trucker hat. He comes up to me. He was like, I just want to tell you, you were so great.
Wow.
He said,
Wow.
I needed to hear that. He said, I needed to
Mm.
hear that. And what God was telling me was when
Mm.
one strays, to save one out of the
Mm.
100. And I thought of that scripture and I was like, wow, this is crazy. The next
Mm.
show, I did somewhat the same thing. It was less people, but I did kind of the same stuff, but I switched it a little bit and I did my normal jokes. But I still incorporated the original joke, even though they told me not to do it again. Then another guy comes
Mm.
up to me afterwards. It was this black guy. His name was Angel.
Stop.
I was done. I was done. And he was like, Megan, da, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I think that he had a girl with him. And I feel like her name was Eve. It was something crazy like that. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
What?
I went home that night and I bawled. I just cried. I was like, God, why? Why? Why did I have to get humiliated
Mm.
like that?
Mm. Mm.
It
Mm.
was such a crazy, crazy experience. But I realized that God told
Mm.
me I needed you to do that
Mhm.
so that I know that I can trust you to
Yeah.
always follow my
Mhm.
voice and do as I say.
Mm. Mm.
The next night, the next show, sold out again. Whatever I did, it was great. I didn't even, I did something different. It was completely different. That has stuck with me ever since. And from that point on, it changed everything about my stand up. Because now it's like that taught me, like, now I know how I need to incorporate the word. Because that night, there was a demon in the house. So I feel like I
Ri
probably was a little more like I'm trying to defend God because y'all playing with him and I don't like the disrespect. So I was like
no.
coming out a little harsh, but I still, for me, I'm like, I still had my comedic elements. I was still telling jokes, but they didn't want to hear that. And then again, the
Yeah.
spirit was also telling me that some people are not prepared to hear it and then they don't want to hear it
Mm-mm.
and they're not prepared to listen. But the one that came up and said, "I needed that," that means I did what I was supposed to do. From that point on,
Amen. You
it
did.
changed
You did.
how I use my voice on stage as a
Mhm.
responsibility, not just to make you guys laugh and have a good time, but also to honor God
Mhm.
because He's allowed me to use my voice in this way. So I cannot take advantage of that. And I cannot take that lightly.
Mm.
All that to say, I forgot, girl,
Girl,
I
no,
forgot what the
no,
question was
no.
about.
No, it's okay. Sit in that. No.
Oh, you were saying the healing with the comedy. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. It was just it was so crazy because like all these people are walking out, just tens and
Yeah,
tens and
yeah,
20s of
yeah.
people. I'm standing there, no
Mhm.
one's talking to me. That guy
Mhm.
literally beeline directly towards me. He only spoke to me. He didn't talk to the
Mhm.
headliner. And we kind of broke off into a corner and we talked for
Mhm.
like 20, 30 minutes. He was showing me his family, his
Mm.
daughters. Like this other woman was with them and we just went into a corner and just it was just about us. I didn't care about nothing else.
Mm.
And we just
Yeah.
had a real moment. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, you remind me of my daughter." And this is a white man. Like he don't look
Aw.
nothing like my dad. Like, and to the naked eye, one would say like he looked like, I don't want to be offensive, but like to someone who would judge him, I'm gonna say it like that. Someone who
Right.
would judge him would be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is like a redneck white guy." Was
Gotcha.
not the
Mhm.
case
Yeah.
at
Wow.
all. And I and
Can't judge
that
a
in and
book
of
by its
itself
cover.
was another lesson of just God
Mhm.
showing me like
Mhm.
you never know
Mhm.
who it is, what they
Nope.
look like, and it doesn't matter. What matters
Mm-mm.
is that they needed to hear the word that I specifically asked you to do on this night, and you did that, and I need you to receive this lesson because if you don't learn it now, we're
Mhm.
gonna have to repeat this again. But guess what? After that, I never had that issue on stage because now we do it together. It's a
Mm.
partnership. So when I go on
Yeah.
stage, I'm asking God, like, tell me what to say. Give me the jokes. Let's do this together. Give me the
Absolutely.
word. Let me know
Yes.
what I need to do. And at that point, I let it go. And
Collaborator.
half time I don't even know what I'm saying up there. All I know is
Okay.
everybody come up to me after like, "Oh my God, that was so funny. That was so great. I love that joke." And I'm like, "What I say? Huh?"
Yeah.
And I have
Yeah.
to record it
Yeah.
and listen back. Like, what did I say? I don't even remember what I said.
Mm.
And I can't even replicate it the same.
Mm.
Because at that point, I just let
Mm.
God do it because he does it
Yep.
every
Do the
time.
work. Use me. Use me. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I
It
love it.
has
I love it.
definitely
I love it.
become, yeah,
Woo.
it definitely has become more of a responsibility to me in that way I thought, than what I thought I was signing up for. So I received that
Yeah.
that healing note that you connect with the comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay. I'm all right. All right. All right. So, okay. Now you have done different forms of entertainment, TV,
Mhm.
film. You've even done some voiceover. What
Yes.
has the journey been like navigating all of those lanes in entertainment? What has that journey been
I
like?
can't say roller coaster. I can't say roller coaster because everybody says roller coaster. So I'm gonna give you something else. It's like sailing the Arctic Sea. You
My
might be up
God.
on a wave and then you might be
Hilarious.
frozen in some ice. You might be
Ooh.
smooth sailing and then your boat might get
Mm.
knocked over by a hurricane. We just don't know these
Ooh.
days.
Mm.
But
Girl.
sometimes you see shore and maybe it's an illusion and it's not the shore. And actually you're 150 miles away from that island that you thought you was gonna go to. So I think it's definitely been a boat ride for sure.
Okay. Okay.
I that's the best way I can say. Like there's waves, there's like
Mhm.
it goes up, it goes down, peaks and valleys. I mean, but in reality, that is life. Like if we didn't have peaks and valleys, our
Yeah.
hearts would stop beating. That is a heartbeat.
Yes.
Peaks
Yep.
and valleys. So we need the peaks and valleys. What I will say though, in the terms of just navigating it is I think the main thing is like we're never perfect. We're always a continuous progress of art and embodiment of the art. So it doesn't ever stop, I don't think, or cap at a place. So
Mhm.
the journey for me has kind of looked like, okay, well, again, similar to like me at Tuskegee, where it's like, okay, I want to be an actor. So I want to do dramas. I want to win an Oscar. But here I am doing stand up
Mhm.
comedy. And it's so, even though I still want those Oscars and I still want, those
Yes.
amazing, life-changing, dramatic roles, I had to realize again, letting God take the wheel, that that wasn't the only
Mhm.
way to get there.
Yeah.
So adding in stand-up, adding in sketch, adding in improv, doing voiceover, doing shorts and commercials and TV, print, movies, whatever the
Mhm.
case, live, in-person live events, whatever the case, right? It's like
Mhm.
I know that it is molding me for something else going forward, just like
Yeah.
me and Tuskegee, even though I didn't earn a degree in nursing, I still have three and
Mhm.
a half years of nursing under my belt, of nursing school under
Wo
my belt. So there's still things that I remember and retain that help me in my day-to-day life, just taking care of myself or whatever the case. So the same kind of
Right.
applies to the creative process, where it's like, at one point I was, playing guitar. I picked up a guitar and was playing guitar, and then, at one point I'm in dance classes and I'm just dancing every week. And then, at another point I'm, doing music improv, which I'm about to get back into. So all of those things just kind of prepared me where I may work or book a certain job, for instance, like doing radio. So doing radio, completely different medium. It's all about your voice. As you know, it's very similar to podcasting, it's very voice and story driven.
Mhm.
A great example of that is in navigating. The first time I got invited to do a radio spot, it was an audition spot for Quake's House. And this is also a whole nother
Mhm.
testimony. This was probably back in 2016 ish. I go in there clueless. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm going in for audition. Didn't do my research, didn't really have the
Mhm.
experience, no clue. I'm thinking I'm just gonna go in there, whatever, be funny. Again, early in my stand-up career. So I still wasn't even there with my own stand-up, So it wasn't never gonna translate to radio to begin with, but I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Uh, and so I go in there not dressed the part. I'm dressed for something that was not for radio. I would became insecure, and I'm like, oh, I should not
Mhm.
have worn this. Why did I wear this? Oh my Lord Jesus, I should have just worn a hoodie. Why didn't I just wear a hoodie, Lord? Why? Why? And so I'm insecure about that. I know they're gonna roast me. And then we get
Mhm.
on air, and it's so funny. I'll never forget. And I know Quake does not remember this. Quake was like, "What is the funniest thing that happened to you today?" And I was like, "Oh, the funniest thing that happened to me today." Now I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something dumb. Like, this guy cut me off traffic and I'm looking at him like, your bumper falling off. It's like, girl, what? Like I made something up because I couldn't find the funny that happened in that day because I just hadn't trained my brain enough yet. So I didn't have it in me. So I didn't get, obviously I didn't book that. Okay. Cut to
Oh,
5 last year. I get
okay.
invited back to Quake's house.
Mhm.
You do the math. That was 9 years or so, 8 or
Yeah.
not what am I doing the math right? Yeah, almost 8 to 9
You said
years.
2016. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So last year
9 years.
2025,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
We're right into 9
Mhm.
years that incident had
Mhm.
happened. And then I became a
Mm.
recurring guest on Quake's house because of the timing and the experience in between. God still gave me that opportunity again when I was ready and prepared. But the first time I was there, I was not prepared. And I learned that lesson
Mm.
quick. Like, oh, let me not do this, 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 and that. I will never do that shit again. But I didn't get that second
Yes.
opportunity until almost 9 years later. And then it
God's
became a
timing.
natural thing where it's like, oh, I'm here at Quake's house now. This is awesome. And I feel like I fit
Yes.
in. I feel like I'm ready. I feel prepared
Mm.
versus before I
Mm.
was completely the opposite. So only
Mhm.
through time and experience and just trying stuff and just continuing to work the craft was I even able to be seen and trusted to come back
Mm.
and re-invited because the work had during that time is clearly expressing itself some kind of way, because if I
Mhm.
wasn't, they would have not invited me back. It's real easy not to invite
Nope.
somebody back if they're not acting right. But it took
Absolutely.
time. It took time. And I think through
Mm.
the whole navigation of it all is really time, letting time play its
Mm.
course and not rushing things. I feel like,
Mm.
trying to rush and push things that aren't quite ripe and ready, you're wasting fruit. Let it stay on the
Mm.
tree and ripen a little bit. If you pull it off too soon, you're not going to eat it anyway. It's nothing you could do with that fruit.
Yes.
Let it chill, let it ripen. And when it falls off the tree, you know it's ready. Bust that thing open and enjoy, you know? So I feel like
Ooh.
that was like my biggest hurdle in the navigation was wanting things now and wanting things quickly. And well, I did this one thing. I planted the seed. Now where's the fruit?
Yes.
I watered it. Where's my tree? This don't make no sense.
Mm.
I see the sun. Like, where the leaves at? Like, what is going on? I'm hungry.
Mm.
So I'm
Mm.
hungry. I'm not seeing the fruit. I'm
Mm.
annoyed. I'm agitated. I'm feeling like again, we back in the boat and I'm being washed around in these waves. Like, help me, Lord. Send me a life jacket. I'm floating out here. Like, send me something, bro. So then he's sending you the life jacket, and the life jacket might just be, this little show that you just learn to, do this kind of joke, and then maybe he send you a little boat, a little canoe, and it's like, okay, the canoe was improv class. Now I'm taking improv classes, and now at Quake's house, if he asks me something on the spot, I've already done years and years of improv. So it's like, it's easy. Got it.
Mhm.
Done.
Mhm.
We're good.
Mhm.
So I encourage
Mhm.
any artist out there, navigating the entertainment creative spaces is just let time play its part because I have to tell myself that even now, where I'm like, all right, now I don't look now, going on
Uh,
now. But then I have to tell myself, like,
Woo.
just chill out, girl, chill out, and I think that's my
Yes.
biggest flaw slash downfall is just wanting it all right away and wanting it all because I don't like waiting. I'm impatient, and so the
Me
patience
too.
is the patience is
Uh,
definitely a big key.
yeah,
And
yeah,
as the
yeah.
parable says, there's a parable and it's going back to the water. The parable
Mm.
says that sail in on calm waters, meaning that
Mm.
boats cannot dock when the waves are crashing. They have to stay anchored out wherever they're at. They cannot dock when the waves are crashing against the shoreline.
Uh,
But when the water is calm, the boats can now come into dock. So, in a sense, that's our mental, that's our vibrational energy, that's our
yeah.
anxiety, our worry. If we're worried, we're sending those waves, and the blessing cannot come in. When we're anxious for time and want things to hurry up, we're sending that wave. The blessing cannot float in. But when we chill out and let God handle what He got to handle and do our part in the meantime, the blessing can come in because you've calmed that wave.
Mm. What a parable. My
It's an
God.
amazing
What
parable.
a
I love that
parable.
parable.
I had
A ship
that
sails in on a
oh my
calm sea.
God. That makes so much sense.
You ever notice, like,
Yeah.
you waiting for somebody to call you about a job and you just wait, 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 looking at the phone, still ain't got it. And then you put the
Yeah.
phone down, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna just put my phone on airplane mode and I'm gonna go sit in the sauna
Yep.
or go get a massage or go get my nails done. And
Yep.
I'm just gonna tune everything out. And as
Mhm.
soon as you turn the phone back on, your phone is blowing up and then you got the call from the job. As
Yep.
soon
Yep.
as you stop thinking
Yeah.
about it.
Stop thinking
And
about
so if
it.
we can
Just let it
apply
go.
that every day, yeah, we
Ooh.
have to. We have to. Just do what you gotta do the art, do the thing, let it go. It's just you can't keep
Ooh.
obsessing, to the point where you're blocking other things to come in.
Blocking the blessing, girl. Mm. Took me to church today. All right.
Every
Oh my
time.
goodness.
Every time.
Yes.
We
This
always
is
gonna
yeah,
go there.
this is great. We always gonna
We're
go there.
always
I mean,
gonna go
you
to
you
church.
can't not. You can't not. You have to. Like it's light. I mean, if
I will
you
always sneak it in. I will always sneak it in. And
yeah,
if people aren't with it, if I
yeah.
see they're like, oh no, she's talking about God. Like when
I
I
do
see
it too.
that, I'll
Yeah, yeah,
back
yeah,
up and
yeah,
I'll just be
yeah.
like, everything's
Yeah.
cool. Everything's good.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll
You
be like,
you just
oh.
check the temperature a little bit. You like, okay,
You know
I'm
why?
gonna get it
Because
in
people
there.
get
If you
scared. When you
receive
talk
it,
about God,
yeah,
people instantly think about
yeah,
accountability and they get
yeah,
scared
yeah, yeah,
because deep down,
yeah, yeah.
whether someone wants to acknowledge God or not, or have a relationship or not, you know that,
Mhm.
let's be for
Mhm.
real, you know he's real. Because for you to say, oh, I'm the church of Satan, you're acknowledging God, you're acknowledging Jesus. Next, oh, well, I don't believe in
Right.
God. The fact that you say you don't believe in him lets me know that you believe in him because there's something to believe in. Next, you
Mhm.
can't win the argument. Deep
Mhm.
down, you guys know that God is real. But when you get
Absolutely.
confronted with God and knowing that He has standards and that He has rules and that He has things that He wants us to live by to stay in a certain way of life, to stay in his
Mhm.
grace. You don't agree with it because you
Mhm.
don't like it, so then you just dismiss him completely. That has nothing to do with him.
Nope.
So when you mention God and people start, it's because they're afraid. And to them, but to
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
say it's okay. You should be afraid of
Yeah.
God. You should. But instead of being afraid, why don't you just go to him and just say,
Well,
hey,
yeah,
I'm
walk with
afraid.
him. Walk with him.
Yeah,
Walk
I'm
with him.
afraid,
Yeah.
God. Like, I've been away for a long time because what ends up happening is they're away for so long, they're scared to go back because of the shame.
Mhm.
But Jesus died for our sins, so
Mm.
there is no shame when you go back. He already knows what you've
No
done, whether you
shame.
say it out loud or not. So you may as well just be accountable, be a big boy, be a big girl.
Absolutely.
Lord, I messed up. I'm afraid. What's up? And that's enough.
Yep. That's
So,
enough.
at the end of the day, I always hold myself accountable and hold my ass to the fire. You know, I'm like
Absolutely.
so unperfect. I'm so far from it, and
Absolutely.
being a perfectionist and you're not perfect can mess with you. But it's just
Yeah.
gotten to this point where I'm like, I know I'm not perfect. I accept that. But because I've accepted
Absolutely.
Jesus in my life and in my heart, and I know that God is real and I have a relationship with him, it's okay that I'm flawed because he's gonna use that and flip it. He's gonna flip that. So do what you
Mhm.
do. It's cool. Like,
Do
all right,
what you
great.
do.
I still cuss,
Absolutely.
I try not to, but
Yeah.
I be up there
Yeah.
cussing and talking about God on
Yeah.
stage. And everyone loves
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
He's
100%.
working on my
I
heart.
love it.
He's working on my tongue. But for right now, that's what's
Yes.
happening in this phase.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I received that. Hey, look, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's
Okay.
that's you that's God knows you. He knows your heart. He knows your intention. He knows it all.
He knows I'm
So as
trying.
long
He
as
knows I'm
he knows you're trying, and that's okay.
trying.
We're none of us are perfect. We ain't never gonna be perfect. We ain't gonna be
We
perfect. We
trying, Lord.
never gonna be
Because
perfect.
listen, I have
Right?
to be able to do comedy with the church groups. I can't be up there just dropping
Yeah, right.
bombs. I got to be able to hold myself, Lord. And he
I
knows
love it.
that. We working on it together.
We're working on it together. Walk with him,
Yes.
yes. Alright, so how did you get involved in, like, projects like They Clone Tyrone? Like, how did that come about?
So the Clone Tyrone is a unique circumstance because
Mhm.
the writer, director, producer is also my life partner. I was very close to the
Nice,
project.
yes.
I
Okay.
was very close to the
I love
project in the
that.
beginning phases of it. And so, I wasn't initially even thinking about being in the movie because I was more concerned about him and his mental state in the making of the movie and knowing that this process
Yeah.
is very exhausting. And it took him
Aw.
3 years to make the movie. It was just a lot. It was a lot. It was a very long process. It was a lot of long nights, a lot of long days, years. It took years to
Mhm.
make that movie from conception to the
Mm.
end. But what ended up happening
Wow.
was for that role, he was like, "Oh, I was gonna have you, you know, read for Riri." And I was like, "Me?" And he was like, "Yeah, just, put it on tape just in case for casting." And I was like, "Okay." So I put it on tape, wax for casting. I still went through the process. I still went through the whole booking
Uh-huh.
process as, any other actor would. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty much it. And but that project was way more than just, one day of filming for me. It was like, working with him, I kind of was on the back end of the project, just, in his ear about certain things like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't like that. Maybe you should change that. So
Mhm.
unaccredited, ghost in the back, just like, helping
Yeah,
where I
yeah,
could. Where,
yeah.
there were like times
That's
on set where like
amazing.
something would he's looking at things on the screen. I'm like, wait, that I don't like that the way that color. He go, oh yeah, hold on. Yeah, can we change this? Can we? So I just be like in his ear, like, yeah, can they take that off? I don't like the way that looks. They need to change that. And he'd be like, okay, whatever. And so, I I appreciated that experience because that was his directorial debut and it
I
was a
love
very,
it.
very big moment for him. So I was more
Mhm.
excited for him and, like, the
Mhm.
moment that it represented versus me
Yes.
being a part of it on screen. I was more gagged behind the scenes because I knew how hard it was for them to get that made, and we shot that during the
Yeah.
pandemic, and it was just so many challenges. They got through it, they did their thing, but for me, the gag was just how well they handled everything, from beginning to end,
Mm.
and just the success of it and just knowing how hard he worked that I really couldn't
Yeah.
even enjoy as much, like, me being in the movie, if that makes sense. Because I felt more like the
Yeah.
crew, like hanging out with,
Yeah, yeah.
the crew and stuff
Yeah.
and, the costume designers, the makeup artists, like those all became my homies. Like everybody behind the scenes became the homies. Obviously, John Boyega and Tiana, I love them. Those are the homies too.
Yeah.
But I was so much behind the scenes. I was recording
Mhm.
BTS. I'm taking photos. So I just enjoyed the process behind the scenes so much
Yeah.
that it kinda overshadowed, in a way, me being in the movie. Now being in the movie
Mhm.
was obviously amazing because it's like I'm working with Jamie Foxx, David Allen Greer is
Yeah.
right here. The entire cast was just so dope. Jay Alphonse, obviously Tiana and John Boyega,
Mhm.
and it was just so great, just to see everybody in action. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was a unique circumstance because I
Mhm.
was kind of around through that whole process. So it wasn't a
Wow.
traditional, my agent sent me a role for this. So yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing that he that so you really had, like, you were there the entirety, like, the entire process. So I'm sure it made you feel kinda closer when you went to be in it, it made you feel closer to that role because you had already got
Well,
all
ironically,
the
the
back end and all.
role, ironically,
Yeah.
I am the one who gave him that name for that character, and that character name, Riri, is actually based off a childhood friend of mine.
That's
So when he was
crazy.
writing the script, when you're writing a script, sometimes you're just thinking of names for characters like, oh, what about Rashawn
Yeah,
or
yeah.
James or Tiana, whatever.
Uh-huh,
You're thinking of these names,
uh-huh.
and he was like, okay, I need a name for the shop or the beauty shop owner. And I was like, so and so, Riri, so and so. He was like, I like Riri. Put it Riri. And so I did not think I was gonna be playing Riri, who's, somewhat based
Wow.
on, a archetype of, you know, person, people that we know. So that
Yeah,
was funny to me, but it was a
that
great
is funny.
process. They did their thing, and honestly is one of those
Yeah.
experiences where, again, in that navigating where I learned so much from watching Jamie Foxx, from watching
Mhm.
David Allen Greer. When they came together in one of those scenes, the first time they like came together, I was and we had masks on, we got them goggles on.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
crying. I was crying because I just
Aw.
couldn't believe Jamie Foxx
Yeah.
and David Allen Greer. And it's just like, again, thinking about my own sketch team. We had an all black sketch team that was very
Yeah.
similar to In Living Color. I'm looking at them like, this
Yeah.
is why I do comedy. So it was
Yeah.
like a whole different experience for me outside of the
Mm.
actress, where I'm like,
Mhm.
this is like a master class, like watching these guys work
Mhm.
and then them
I
coming
believe it.
together like that, like a little mini
Mhm.
reunion, I'm like, "This is so overwhelming because, Lord, how did you do this?" And what's crazy is David Allen
Mm.
Greer wasn't even initially cast, it was another actor who was cast, but they had a family emergency and couldn't film, so then they brought in David Allen Greer at the last hour.
Crazy.
I mean, it was
Crazy.
it was really an incredible experience, but I
I
kinda
believe it.
felt like for him, like, with Joelle, like, I felt more like a, proud mom, big sister, like,
Yeah.
"You better yes, this is what okay, good."
Yes.
Like, yes, like, I just felt
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
protector over that process, and then it was time for me to get in costume, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, wait, what's my lines? Hold up." I'm like, "What
You
is
were
my
so busy
line?"
being a
Like, I
cheerleader.
actually yeah, I had,
You was
like,
being a
3
cheerleader.
lines. I had 3 lines and forgot them. I was like, "Child,
Oh,
what?"
that
But it
is
was great
so
because he let
funny.
us improv, and we had so much fun in that scene. We improv, so,
That's
we got
cool.
to have a lot of fun in making the
Mhm.
movie. So, it was just
Nice.
overall a unique but wonderful filmmaking experience.
I love that. I love it. I love it. Okay. So you talked about improv. Do you still do improv? Or I know you said you wanted to get back into music improv. Because you start UCB is where you did improv. Is that how you develop your sketch team and all that stuff from there?
Exactly. I
Okay.
basically took some time to focus in on comedy, and it started with stand
Mhm.
up. I started with
Mhm.
stand up, and through the
Okay.
years, I would have people invite me to do sketches and stuff. So I would do some here and there,
Mhm.
like taped sketches.
Mhm.
Then I started taking improv classes after having a little bit of a
Mhm.
hiatus from doing stand up. I was just not feeling funny. I just wasn't feeling funny. I just felt like I had nothing to talk about. Like it was just a weird, awkward phase. It was like year one. So I started doing
Mm.
improv and I was like, maybe something that's a little bit more group driven, a little less pressure of
Mhm.
like being up there by yourself and like stuck.
Mhm.
So I started taking improv classes, but I found out that I really loved it and I was really good at it. So I just kept that went
Mhm.
through the whole program. And then I was like, oh, I may as well dabble in sketch. So I started taking all the sketch classes, finished the whole program,
Mhm.
and I
Wow.
started a sketch team there, Cornbread Kitchen, and we ran
Mhm.
a show at UCB for 3 years called the Black Twitter Show. And we ran it all the way
Mhm.
up into the pandemic, and the pandemic just kind of changed everything from that point.
Yeah.
But that was where I initially started. Now, right now, I'm not actively doing improv, but I am in the process of working with and bringing music improv back into my schedule of events, if you will. And
I love it.
so that, but like I was just explaining with the earthquake thing, like I still use my improv skills.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like in my
They don't go
stand
away.
up,
I've done improv too. Yeah, I do. I've done improv. I wanna actually get back into it. I took a break after last year, but I've done improv as well. I got all the way to long form. Love it, love it, love it. Still, I
I
wanna
love it.
but it's a skill. It's a skill that, once it teaches you to be sharp, to be on the fly, come up with like, it's nothing that you can't, like, right off the bat, you can just like that. And so that's why it prepared you for that moment with earthquake. Like, yeah, I
During
get
that
it.
moment of earthquake,
I get
it
it. Yeah.
prepares me as
Uh-huh.
a host when I'm hosting.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
really, if anything, I do practice it almost on a daily basis because when I'm
Mhm.
hosting, I'm doing crowd work, and crowd work is
Mhm.
technically improv, you know?
Mhm.
And sometimes in my jokes, I'll have prepared jokes that I'm doing, but then I'll improvise because I'm finding something
Mhm.
brand new in that moment. And so that's
Mhm.
what they'll call in the stand up world as writing on stage. It's like you're
Yeah.
writing it in real time. So that happens for me
Mhm.
more often than I would like because I want to keep
Mhm.
like some consistency to some of my jokes. But what a lot of times what happens,
Mhm.
I'll tell a joke green and then in the middle, I'm like, improv, 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 and then finish the joke green. And then the next time I try, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I start the joke green. I'm like, damn, what did I do? I forgot in the joke because it's really like again like just connecting to how I was saying before. Like I really just asked God to use
Yeah.
me, which means I'm gonna be
Yeah.
doing a lot of improv. It just
Yeah.
it just happens. It just happens.
It happens.
But it all plays
Yep.
out on stage even in
Mhm.
writing sketches, some of those sketches, I'm like, technically, this could be a stand-up joke. This could be a joke.
Mhm.
Some of the
Yeah.
improv jokes or like characters can be a sketch
Mhm.
character. Some of these
Mhm.
jokes that I'm telling on stage can be a sketch. Some of these jokes
Mhm.
I'm telling on stage, I'm going to create a character. So they all, for me, blend together really
Intertwines.
nicely
Mhm.
so it just
Mhm.
helps elevate my stand up because I have the multiple switch knife on the comedy skill set. So I'm not
Mhm.
only in the lane of telling, a standardized stand up comedy joke set.
Yep.
I can do improv, I can sing, I can do go into characters, I can go into voices, I can do improv, do crowd work, I can host. So all of that is in a
Yep.
culmination of just those years of practicing it and the skills
Mhm.
that have found a harmony with each other where it works for me, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense. It's a skill. Improv is, I think that anybody could actually benefit from it for whatever, just in general. I think that people in life, because just everyday life, you could benefit from improv, when it comes
Absolutely.
to meetings. If you work a corporate job and you have to do meetings and whatever the case may be, or anything you do, it could be beneficial.
Anything.
It's a skill that would
It is
never leave
great.
you. It's a skill that would never leave you. It's amazing. I love it.
It's great.
You know.
I agree.
Uh, I
Mhm.
have to get back. I have to literally get back to it. I literally last year a lot happened in life for me, and I had to take a beat, a pause, but it's something that I definitely am striving to get back to. And I'm about to move to LA, so with that, I want to get back into it. Because I was doing it here. I'm from Virginia, and so doing it here, I
Okay.
mean, like it's great. It's great, and it set me up for where I'm gonna be going. But yeah, like I can't wait to start doing it
Get
again.
back
But
into
anyway.
it. Yeah. Get back
Yeah,
into
see where it
it.
takes me. You know what I mean? I love it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Alright. Yeah. So, okay. So you founded Laugh Your Truth Productions. What inspired you to create that?
That was created around the same time I created the sketch group, ironically. The
Mhm.
same year,
Okay.
around the same month. They both
Mhm.
happened around the same time. They both were created out of necessity. I created that sketch group out of necessity. I created a group
Uh-huh.
before that was a little bit more, I'll say, a diverse range of people. And
Mhm.
it went way left. And something that I created with good intention became like now I'm feeling isolated. I don't feel supported. I don't feel safe.
Mm.
So I left that group and then created Cornbread Kitchen out of necessity because I'm like, I need people to look like me or be somewhere in the
Mhm.
range of me. And that worked out great. At that same
Mhm.
time, where I was in my stand up at that point in my journey, I wasn't quite good enough to book a lot of shows. They would just be like bringer shows
Mhm.
and just like whatever shows. And, I was still
Mhm.
doing open mics. They'll call you like an open micer, right? So I was still technically like an open micer. And I
Mhm.
just, again, just wasn't feeling safe in some of these spaces, especially stand up is very vulnerable. So I was feeling very
Yeah.
vulnerable and I just didn't like the fact that I didn't feel good enough. So I said, okay, well, let me just create my own space to do that, and if I'm not good enough, it's okay because it's my space and then I can book my friends and my homies and other comics and, you know, give them a safe space to perform. For me, that was the only
Yeah.
thing I was concerned about at the time was a safe space to do stand up and develop myself. That
Mm.
quickly became a community, which I was blown away. I wasn't shocked. I was not expecting that, but I feel like the first night we ran that show, there were so many people, like comics just everywhere. And I'm like, man, I can't believe it. Week to week, week to week, week to week, the same comics, more comics, new comics, old
Mm.
comics. I'm like, man, then it just became a thing of like, oh man, I built something. They came. I can't undo
Yeah.
this now. I guess I gotta keep this thing going. It's like I felt
Yeah.
responsible. Like I did this thing,
Mhm.
it's important. I'm seeing the value that it's bringing to this
Mhm.
community, and I
Yeah.
don't wanna take that from them, and I don't wanna take that from myself.
Mhm.
So I just continued to build it, slowly over the years, and then eventually, started bringing it to comedy clubs, start traveling with it a little bit, and expanding it, and, eventually turning it into an actual real company because for, a couple
Yeah.
years just doing business as, under the name and the brand, but
Mhm.
I was starting to see the more that I was investing in it, not just financially, but, mentally and energetically investing in it, I was realizing like,
Mhm.
wait, something really good is going on here. This is like a good thing,
Yeah.
right? Right? Like, I'm not crazy. But even through Life Your Truth, God has been giving me just so many blessings and so many business ideas and downloads and just things that he wants me to do with the company, in the years to
Yeah.
come and in the different growth phases of the company.
Mhm.
And it's been another thing, just another avenue for God to speak to me because at one point we were running a workout room and in North Hollywood, and we pretty much were talking about God every day because I'm hosting that too. And so
Uh-huh.
somehow I will always bring in, the conversation of God and, whatever life stuff was
Mhm.
going on at that time. And then we started joking,
Yeah.
calling it comedy church. They were calling it comedy church, that particular, how we were running that room. So to a certain degree, it does feel like a comedy church. It's like, I'm sorry, it's a lash in my eye.
No,
This is
you're
the
good.
community. This is the community that really has helped us stand to the point where we are now because
Mhm.
the comics have constantly showed up for us. They've constantly supported us. They've always shown us so
Mhm.
much love. So it just gives me even more motivation. Like, okay, well, let me do something bigger. Let me try to expand more. Let me try to figure out another opportunity because I want to give to the
Yeah.
comics as much as they're giving to us. So
Mhm.
what started as just an idea of just something small for me to be safe and work became a community.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. That's amazing. So when people come to a lit comedy show, like when they come to a lit comedy show, what do you want them to feel or walk away with?
I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel
Mhm.
loved and seen. That is number
Mm.
1. So, like, my team knows we always want to make sure that people feel great when they come in, and we want them to feel even better
Mhm.
when they leave. When they leave,
Yeah.
our goal is for them to feel full, for them to
Yeah.
feel joy, and to feel that sense of community and belonging. A lot of comics will sometimes take this angle of kind of isolating certain people or certain groups of people or whatever, male to female, whatever.
Mhm.
Not all, but some comics take this approach. I'm not saying it's not funny or it doesn't work. However,
Yeah.
some people will take that direction and just say like,
Mhm.
if I was a female comic, for example, and I always talked about how much I didn't like men, or
Mhm.
how bad men were, or,
Yeah.
ladies that stick together, screw these guys. I'm
Mhm.
isolating so many men potentially because they may think I'm
Mhm.
funny, but they don't feel welcome or included. But the
Right.
approach that I take is okay, guys mess up, they mess up, but girls, we be messing up too. Let's be all the way for real.
Let's
That's
be
how
inclusive here.
I approach it. Where if I'm going to talk
Yeah.
about one, I'm gonna talk about all, and
Mhm.
if we're gonna include
Absolutely.
one, we're including all. So,
Mhm.
excuse me, I never want
Mhm.
anyone to feel like I'm this color skin tone and I'm in this show. I don't feel comfortable or safe. I might be attacked.
Yeah.
I don't ever want anybody to feel like that. So I make sure like when I book my shows, there's always different types of comics on there because I want people to feel like, oh great, this is a mosh posh of all people, all walks of life, and that's really the end goal is bringing all
Mhm.
walks of life into a room where we can all
Mhm.
be the same because 'cause we're all laughing
Mhm.
at the same stuff. Funny is funny.
Yep.
So that's really the goal
Fun
is
is fun.
everyone having a sense of oneness and,
Mhm.
togetherness and community when they leave.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. How long has this been you've been doing this now? Every week, right?
With lit,
Yep, with lit.
our schedule changes
Okay.
depending on the season and what's going on. We have a monthly
Mhm.
residency at the Ice House in Pasadena. We have
Mhm.
a semi-monthly residency at the San Diego Yellow Door. And at
Okay.
the moment, our workout room is on hiatus, but we're going to be bringing it back soon. We always take a hiatus at the end of the year. So the
Mhm.
workout room that we do is weekly. That one is
Okay.
weekly, but our main big shows are monthly. Then we have other
Gotcha.
productions in between that we might slide in there, if it's a benefit show or, we
Wow.
just added a comedy camp with the kiddos. So we started doing that with the kids. So, it just
Oh.
depends on what in that season or in that month, what we're
Yeah.
doing. But usually it's a once a month main show, weekly workout room open mic show.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So
Mhm.
you so in the so how where do you see, I mean, like the landscape of like the company and your brand, and where do you see that going? What's your goals? Maybe 5, 10 year plan, or any thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The goal is to continue to expand the brand
Mhm.
internationally, to
Mhm.
continue to increase our viewership, usership, subscriptions to our platform,
Mm. Mhm.
mainly to create a platform that can change the lives of comics,
Mhm.
to also give them equity in the projects that they create so that they
Mhm.
can always reap the benefit of their work. I just
Mhm.
personally don't believe in an artist doing a body of work and a production company taking all the money and all of the proceeds.
Mm.
That just doesn't feel right to me. So I feel like there should be
No.
better implications to making sure that the artist is getting paid and can take care of themselves. So for
Mhm.
me, it's really over that 5 and next 10 years is continuing to build the infrastructure to
Mhm.
garner those things so that we can
Mhm.
support comedians in a way that they can support themselves and feed their family. So what does that
Yeah.
look like? Obviously, comedy specials, bigger content and things like that.
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
some of those plans I can't discuss out loud because,
Of course. Yeah.
you
God's
know,
working on it. I mean, that's between you and God right now. It's
yes,
okay.
it's one of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things
yeah.
of when it's ready, everybody will
Yeah, yeah,
know
yeah.
because we put out so much
Okay.
PR stuff and, statements and
Yeah.
press releases and stuff like that. So when that time does arrive, everybody's going to know. But there are
Okay.
things in the works and things that we're working on, but it's just, again, it's not ripe yet. So I cannot pluck that fruit. But really
Mhm.
building the infrastructure and just really just continuing to build the global visibility on what we're doing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
especially in highlighting the mission, which is, bringing people together under
Mhm.
the guise of comedy and
Yeah.
bringing joy to people's lives under the guise of comedy. And
Mhm.
so that's really the ultimate goal there.
Mm. I
Really
love it.
providing
I love it.
opportunities. Yeah, just providing opportunities
Yeah.
for people in a company and providing opportunities
Mhm.
for comedians
Mhm.
to platform them and also to have them on the back end, on behind the scenes where they can, benefit and elevate their career and launch careers too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I love it. Okay. All right. So we'll be on the lookout for all the other when the fruit is ripe. We'll be looking out
Yes.
for all of that. But
Yes.
yeah, for the rest. Okay. I love it.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
So you have talked about movement, like you love to move your body. One thing I also love about your content, like you're very self-care. You talked about that, like ways that you
Mhm.
pour back into yourself. What is your ideal reset day look like? Because I know you're avid for skincare. Your skin is beautiful. You always glow.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
yeah, what is your ideal reset day look like? What does that look like for you?
Okay, an ideal reset day for me, it kinda just happened
Mhm.
a couple of days ago. Um, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm
Mhm.
going to the gym. I'm gonna sweat hard. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna hit a sauna. There's just something about, like, purifying my body in the Lake Minnetonka with sweat. Like, I love to, like, just sweat, 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 sweat. A
Mhm.
deliciously boiling hot shower.
Mm.
Um, a great salad or wonderful lunch,
Mhm.
a mani-pedi,
Mm.
a massage. Gots to get the
Mm.
deep tissue Thai massage. I gots to get
Got to
walked
get
on,
it.
okay?
Yes, yes.
And a lot of times
Mm.
that the end of that reset really
Mhm.
looks like for me is some good quality rest. All of
Mm.
that and then a good old nap. It gets me right every time.
Mm.
It gets me right
Ooh,
every single time. But that reset for me,
love
honestly,
it.
for real though, a lot of it is the massage, the mani-pedi.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll throw an acupuncture in there
Mhm.
and a sauna. It's like if I could do all of
Mhm.
that in like a day
Yeah.
and laundry. If I can get through folding all three of these baskets, we gonna be okay.
So you sound like for me
We have
is
reset
my
for 2 weeks.
laundry is my like folding clothes. Laundry is my most tedious. It's so tedious. I can't stand doing laundry. It's a task to fold. It's
It's
the washing, the drying, the folding, the put
it's
away.
really a lot. If I can get through that and change my bed sheets.
Hey, Megan.
Hi.
So as we were talking
Yes.
the last time before we were so rudely interrupted, you were saying,
Yes, I was saying that I feel accomplished in my day when I feel most accomplished in my day when I feel productive. Productivity
okay.
for Megan looks like my bed is made, disinfected sheets, folded clothes, my cats. The cats have to be in the equation. And if I
Hmm.
at least touch base with someone in my family or a friend or two, that feels like a productive day that like really brings me peace.
I love that.
It's
I
like
love that for you. And then you mentioned before, you said, say that again.
I was just saying that I'm a pretty simple gal when it comes to that. That's just like the simple pleasures of life for me.
I love that. I agree. So your
Mhm.
robe, you mentioned before on IG about your robe era, like when you can get home and you can just like the end of the day and put that robe on. What does that do for you? Like, what does that robe do for you?
That robe solidifies the end of the day. Just the same way as like you give a bottle to a baby to solidify its sleep time. That's my bottle. That is my bottle. So like out and about, if I'm working on a set or on a show or whatever I have to do, an event, whatever. And, I put all this work into being presentable and the glam and all this stuff. And there just like will come a point like where I'm outside and I hit a brick wall and I'm thinking about the robe. And when I think about the robe, I start I'm serious. I will start to like tune out, and once I get
Mhm.
home and unstrap everything and clean my face and that robe closes up, it's like a deep breath, a deep sigh. I know I'm okay. I
Mhm.
know I am safe. And that robe just,
Mhm.
it sets me on. It sets me on the right
I love
path.
it.
I'm ready for bed. I'm ready for my nighttime shows. And the robe just, for me, it's just as basic as it gets. Like, I don't need a lot. That robe will do it for every single time. I live in that robe
Every
when I'm at
time.
home. Like, I don't wear like, at home casual clothes. I'm in a robe. And when the robe comes off, it's like my cape coming off. And like sometimes the robe is the
Mhm.
last
Mhm.
thing that I take off. Like I'll be dressed under it and still have the robe on. And when the robe comes off, I'm like, oh, I have to face the world. And so when I come back and the robe comes back on, I'm like, we're good. We're good. Robe era all 2026.
I love it. Yes. I agree. I usually stay in my robe a lot too. Like that's usually my thing. Like you see me in the house, I have my robe on. You can guarantee it. It's like it's comfy. It just makes me feel good and it lets me know that I'm home. And yeah,
We
it's
are
it's
the
everything I
new
need.
aunties and grandmas. We're the new aunties and grandmas who were in their nightgown or whatever. That for our generation, I think is the robe. The fuzzy
Yes.
robe to be
I would
exact.
agree. Yes. Gotta be the fuzzy one. I agree. I agree. It can't be the
Yes.
sexy robe. It's got to
Yes.
be the fuzzy. It's got to be the
No,
fuzzy
never
grandma
the
robe. It
sexy
has
robe.
to be.
Never the sexy robe
And
is actually a pointless robe. It makes no sense. There's no need for it. The fuzzy terry
no
cloths,
sense.
yes.
Yes. And when I go to my mom's house, my parents' house, when I go to their house, my grandmother, my mom's mom actually used to have this big, it is heavy. It's a huge, big robe. And it's like a Valentine's Day robe. But it's long. It's like a
Mm.
big, thick robe that has the hearts. It's red with pink hearts all over it. And this used to really be my grandma's robe. When I go to my mom's house, she has that robe. When I go to her house, I go get that robe. And I put that robe on and I wear it while I'm at her house. Just wear it like while we're cooking, whatever we're doing, it doesn't matter. I have that robe on while I'm there. It's comfy. It's like it reminds me of my grandma, but it's just a vibe. So even when
The
I'm in a
robe
robe,
is a
even when I'm not at my
vibe.
house, I'm there. I still wear the robe even when I'm not here.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
I
And I'm
I
not
also
ashamed
have
of
a
it.
little separation anxiety because I'm traveling and I don't have my robe, and so I just have to resort to, like, my a pajama set, and I'm like, "It's not giving the same. It's not giving."
It's not given. It
And that
just
I'm
doesn't
sure
give
that has
the
affected my
same.
sleep. It doesn't give. It doesn't give. So,
It does not give. I agree. But we
mm-mm,
persevere. You'll get back to the rope. I'm sure it misses you
we
too.
push through. Oh, yeah. It's just
Yeah.
hanging there like, "Come on, girl."
Where you at?
Yes, it is.
That is so funny.
Huh?
Okay. So for someone listening or watching who wants to pursue acting or comedy, but they feel unsure, what would you tell them?
Okay, I think Jack Nicholson or Morgan Freeman said this before, or maybe Denzel Washington.
Mhm.
I'm sure your audience will clock it. Someone said this, it was one of those three. They said, if you want to be an actor or, in entertainment, try to think of something else you would rather do. And if you still come back
Mm.
to acting, then you pursue it with all you got. So, in a similar way, I feel like I would kind of regurgitate a little bit of that advice. As I was mentioning early in the interview, my personal journey, I did go off my trail and then come back and then go off and come back. And I did put myself to that litmus test like, can I see myself working in corporate? Absolutely not. And then I start getting like anxiety when I think about it. Okay, should I go back to
Mm.
school and pursue a nursing degree or finish my nursing degree? It gives me anxiety. Even at the point where I was going to step into, enlist in the Air Force after college, the idea of it at first I was
Mm.
okay with. And then it started to evolve where I'm like, I can't visually see myself doing it. So I would say
Mhm,
there is some visualization to it. Like, can you see yourself doing this particular job or this particular career path? And if you
mhm,
can't envision yourself doing it, then it might not be for you. But if it's all you think about, if it's all you're talking about, if it's all you can muster up in terms of like, how do I get to do this? I think that that's your sign
mhm,
that it's something you should pursue, but it's definitely not for the faint or weak of heart. It does take endurance, it does
mhm,
take time, it takes preparation. And
mhm,
so I always tell young creatives when I get the chance to interact with them that it's really you have to really just listen to yourself and just see what your heart is speaking to and just take that leap of faith because it does take faith, it does take courage, to say, "Hey, I'm gonna do something that's not
mhm,
traditional." It's not
mhm,
necessarily something the first thing people think about when they are young, like, "Oh, you wanna be a firefighter or a doctor, teacher." It's usually not a traditional job. So because it's not traditional, you have to be prepared to approach
mhm.
something not traditional with not traditional thinking. So I would say that, just stay encouraged. It is a long game. But if you do take that jump, just do it with courage, with 10 toes in, and just be prepared for the ride.
Yeah, 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 and it's a ride, yeah, that's for sure. You gotta love it, you
Yeah.
know? You definitely have to love it.
Well,
Um,
there's no
okay, so
blueprint, there's no like
yeah,
handbook, there's no, if you pursue a career as a doctor, there's a pretty linear
mhm,
path of like how to
mhm,
acquire these steps. But in this business and entertainment, there's not a necessarily linear path because it can go up, down, left,
mhm.
right, swirl around and come back. So I would say, yeah, embrace yourself for the ups and downs of
Woo!
the journey.
Like a roller coaster, yes. Strap in. That is so
Strap
real.
in,
Strap in.
strap in.
Okay. So what does picking passion look like for you right now at this present moment? Like, what are you excited about at this moment? What does that look like?
Okay, so what it looks like for me in this moment, I was just having this conversation yesterday that right now my passion is driving me to not procrastinate on projects or goals or creative things that I wanted to do and just
Mhm,
going after it and making minimal excuses to ride the
mhm,
experience. So that right now is my passion, be it creative or physically or mentally. It's like, okay, just say I wanted to go horseback riding twice a week. I need to start going horseback riding at least once a week so I can build up to twice a week. Like, and I need to start now instead of waiting in 2 months. So that's kind of where my
mhm,
head is right now is just being more in attack mode and just being more present and not thinking about, oh, I'll put this off until the end of the year. Like, no, let me do it like within this week. So that's been my passion
mhm.
now is just like really attacking the things that I want to do.
I love that. I love that for you. Yeah, I love that. That's always exciting
Thank
because my
you.
biggest hurdle is procrastination as well. That's my biggest hurdle. It's like, Erica, don't put it off. If you can do it today, just get it done. Like, do it now. Like, execute. Don't. My execution is not always like that. There, I have the ideas or whatever it is and the things, but I'm like, just do it. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
working on it.
Yeah,
I'm better than I used to be
you
for
feel
sure.
better after.
Yeah, you do.
Mhm,
You
and
really
you feel
do. It's
better after,
I
so
don't
yeah.
it is, that's a very true thing, you're just like, "Oh, I did that thing. Oh, okay, check it off my to-do list. Okay,
Mhm.
great." It's a mental load off of you and everything. So, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so where can the people find you, Megan? Like, we've come to the end. Where can the people tell
Oh,
'em what you got
no.
going on? Where can they where can they find you?
So everyone, you can find me on all my social platforms. It's the same name. It's Yo Megs, like Yo, what's up, Megs? IO_MEGS, Yo Megs. And you can also find me on my website, megansousa.com. Those are the two hubs I would say is like you can find all things about me there, everything, upcoming projects, dates, and things like that. As far as lit comedy goes, we have a monthly show at the Ice House and we have a semi monthly show in San Diego at the National Lampoon Yellow Door. So you can catch us between those
Mhm.
2 clubs. We kinda alternate between the 2, but around the time that this airs, we will be in San Diego on May 9th at 9:30 p.m. at the Yellow Door. So we're here, we're out. May 5th or 8th or 7th. I'm sorry. It's the same week as the Yellow Door, but I'll be performing with Netflix as a joke on a show at the Comedy Store in West Hollywood. So there's dates always popping up and around, and sometimes they pop up the same week, so I would say the best place to get the most up-to-date dates, times, projects are my socials, because my Instagram particularly is always current. My
Mhm.
TikTok, I apologize for that in advance. It's not so current. So, yes, Instagram and Facebook, you can pretty much get my most recent updates.
Love that. Check my girl out. She's amazing. So thank you,
Thank
Megan.
you.
I really appreciate this. I really, really appreciate this.
Thanks for watching, guys.